Good morning, viewers. Welcome to new edition on P&B Morning Shows. And today we are going to be looking into various and headlines on our news and daily newspapers. Today, we're also going to be discussing some critical issues on this program this morning. I welcome you once again to Politics and Business Television on morning shows. Here with me is my co-presenter.
Yeah, morning, viewers. This morning, my name is Issa Nu, and just before now, our lead presenter, just introduced the program for us to be able to discuss some of the current affairs issues, looking at our dailies and other events that will definitely take place after it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Issa. Good morning to you.
Morning. I can see that you are looking so glamorous this
Thank
morning.
you very much. Same here. And how's the night?
Fine. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Our viewers, like we said, Nigerians, we wake up to see a lot of issues, should we say controversial issues, things that concerns Nigerians and everybody. It's our responsibility to fact check and also to check our leaders and not only leaders. I'm talking about leaders, not necessarily to be in politics in all ramifications of our country and nooks and crannies. But we will delve into this program. We and Issa is not the only person that are going to be discussing this issue in the studio. We have also our guest here in the studio, Ambassador
I think he called himself Patriot.
Patriots. Wow, that's a very nice one.
Yeah.
Patriots and Desmond.
Olufowobi.
Desmond. Good morning, August.
Good morning, Shitu. Good morning, Issa. It's good to be with you guys in this morning show on P&B Television.
Thank you
very much. I can see how High Chief is smiling, with a radiant face on you this morning. Thank you very much and welcome to our morning show programs. Well, before we delve into this morning section, we have a series of issues, that happened yesterday. Even at this moment, things are still happening. It's Nigerian for you. We can shy away from that. And as this year is about to round up 2024, we have less than 21 or 22 days. We pray to Almighty to make us to witness the next coming 20-25 years. Politically, let me say I see that 20-25 years as a year of kickstart of political activities. When I talk about kickstart of political activities, we're talking about different ball games entirely. We start emancipating one political parties, the existing political parties. We're talking about the ruling parties and the major opposition parties will be having their world congresses from the world to
to the state level,
exactly to the national
level. Yeah.
Before maybe probably we having and we heard that there are a lot of going to be kind of a new
political parties coming up.
Let's just quote and unquote. So let's watch and let's wait and see.
Yeah.
But for that we have a series of activities, like I said. But before I go deep into that, Mr. Issa, what will you say about exactly what exactly is happening this morning from your side?
Well, so many is happening, and just on Vanguard this morning, you've heard of the Senate saying that they are not going to make provisions for the MDAs over non-appearance for their budget defense, and so much is expected, because the issue is that the president has now submitted to the Senate, and then our expectation is that with time, all those MDAs who have actually not gone there to defend their budget, and if they don't do it on time in collaboration with the Senate, so many things are going to happen. But I know the president's target is to see that, yes, by the first quarter of next year or by 1st of January, the budget session starts. Immediately there's implementation and everything once approved by the National Assembly. So there are so many issues actually happening today. And also still on Punch, on Vanguard, we have the new Port Harcourt refinery, over 90% completed. So many issues, and then the Port Harcourt refinery has been a controversial issue for some time.
Exactly.
Just yesterday, I saw the NLC, the TUC, they were there to actually examine things for themselves, so that they can be able to tell the laborers or the labor how they felt about what they said.
That remind me, like 2 weeks ago or thereabout, that's when the news broke out that the Port Harcourt refineries have kickstarted. A lot of issues, doubting tumors, if I'm to use the word, from Nigerians and people like and critical stakeholders, like, no, this is just let me use the word scams that the federal government is trying to play on intelligence of Nigerians, that let's actually see how the process is going on. Like, what will you say you just kickstart? Although some people are patron, like, okay, wow, this is a very good news. But and as we go in, we're going to also look into that aspect and to see what exactly is going on, and is it true? Yes, some facts and some evidences, videos. Like I saw last week, well, the gas and petroleum correspondent of China's television, Olu Thomas, went to Port Harcourt to examine and to see what is on ground on that. And I can tell you that at least with that, China's television is one of the TV stations in Nigeria today that at least when they ever say, they're not absolutely correct, but at least when they say something, we definitely know that
You can
yes,
hold them by it.
you can hold them by it. So with that, we have confidence, and Nigeria should also have confidence that we should be optimistic in this country that at least things will definitely be going further. And also, I also saw some people saying that there's no chance in presidency, that Atiku and some other people are in that. Everybody are entitled to be a president. Once you're qualified, you're Nigerian, you're entitled to, whether it's not necessary, it's not in constitution that a particular person must rule for 8 years or thereabouts. If Nigeria should decide that, but not political classes. We saw what happened in the United States of America. Of recently, they conducted the election. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they are having their first term, and Kamala Harris and Trump went into the poll, and we saw what happened. Americans say no, we don't want Kamala Harris again. Well, we want Trump. So it is not in the custody or responsibility of a political classes. Although yes, we know that you want to defend, protect where you're getting your daily, your income. But let Nigerians decide. And I could remember some months ago, the governor of your state, Engineer Seyi Makinde, said something that 2027 election is between Nigerians and APC.
There's so much to discuss with respect to the issue of politics in Nigeria, because just a few days back, Ghana conducted an election. We didn't actually see that upbeat the way we used to see it in Nigerian politics, where you see the issue of violence, you see the issue of rigging, you see the issue of military coming close to the ballot, and also wielding guns with, towards the electorate. So there are so many issues we can actually learn from that. And just before then was the issue of the United States of America and Trump winning despite not being in power. He won the election, and then the president, Joe Biden, congratulated him. So the expectations here now is that we are also tending towards that direction, because we have now started seeing the political upbeat from all the major stakeholders across the political divides. And then they are all looking at how can we get there, because the plume job is who becomes the next president, or who will the president sustain his tempo till that particular time and beyond to 2031. So it is expected they will all come. Just like the issue of Dele Farotimi, you can see how it is taking political intonation. After it was released yesterday, before it was released, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi had to go and meet with barrister and senior advocate Afe Babalola for them to be able to appeal to him so that he can douse tension. So many intrigues taking place now. It's just because of the 2027. And then we've seen the issue of the tax bill, how it is actually dividing between the North, the South. So many political interests coming in. Just yesterday, the Southeast actually said, well, they are not against the bill in total, but then let the consultation go around.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. We have a lot of issues, like I said during my introduction. We have a lot of issues and critical topics to look into, but we have time that is binding us here in the studio. But it won't. I don't want us to sound like we're going to discuss only politics today, like you mentioned, the presentation of the budget. And now today is 10th of December. Where is the 2025 budget bill? The budget. Where is it at the moment?
Well, I think as at the last time, I know the president was almost done. My expectation is that during my consultation,
less than 3 weeks.
Less than 3 weeks to 2025.
To round up this year.
I think the president will be making that submission. Just to correct my earlier statement, the president will be making that submission within this December, hopefully before they go on recess. And I think that's the more reason why the Senate or both chambers are yet to go on recess.
Can't you see that is the reason why most of our budget in the past years has been shameful and shams in terms of proper implementation. Because if we are bringing a budget of a country of a nation like Nigeria, over 200 million population, and we are not expecting anything less than trillions. I don't want to know numbers of trillions before the proper, we Nigerians, it seems that the way we are doing things is not the way it's supposed to be. No any countries, let me put it like this, not any countries is perfect. We agree to that fact.
Yeah.
But there should be the government, because they say government for the people is for the people, by the people, and maybe to the people, if I'm right.
Yeah, government of the people, by the people, and for the
people.
people.
Yeah. Where is for the people there? Because it should be an open thing. When the presentation is going, there should be a medium, a platform whereby Nigerians can contribute. Fine, the budget you're giving to education, we don't want it. Put something into it. Reduce something in this, reduce something in security. And by the time the president is, I don't know, today is 10th already. Yeah, that's 21. Saturday and Sunday, let's take it off. Now, when exactly the president bringing the budgets to the National Assembly? Before they will accept it, before they will start to it. We are not getting it right in this country, to me, because a budget of a country like Nigeria, like ours, nothing less than, it should not be even being in December. It should be around November or probably October. For more deliberations, for more proper scrutiny. Yes, because, after the presentation now, by January, they will tell us that they want to start, implementing. What about if they are putting things that is not necessary? We need to check the governments, both the legislatures and even the executive.
Well, you stated it clear, and that is how sane a society should be. There should be openness, there should be transparency in all we do. Unfortunately, if you look at the previous government under President Muhammadu Buhari, we saw an NNPC that could not actually remit fund to the national coffers for over 6 years. And nobody questioned it. And today, we are now seeing an Emefiele with over, allegedly, we are now seeing him with over 700 houses.
And do you think that is possible?
So you start asking yourself, at what point did that money leave the treasury
of the CBN?
Saying. So there is no transparency in all these things. And just recently, I was raising an issue, not quite long. I had to talk to one of the managers of EFCC, and I told him, well, since the commencement of this particular administration, I've noticed that you people have actually downsized the media coverage and even the press briefings, because despite the fact that we abused we say the former government didn't do this, didn't do that, there was that openness for us to be able to have one or two interaction with the media house, with the media managers of these particular agencies. But now, nothing like that is happening. They only invite you when they want you to just have one or two, but you cannot ask questions. So there are so many issues that we need to put straight. And just like you've rightly stated, the issue of the budget should not be a fire brigade approach. It's something that has to do with the lives of Nigerians.
Of course.
So there should be a proper timing for deliberations on these issues. Because people should be able to raise questions.
It is our taxes that form these bills, these budgets that you are bringing. So we should know how our money are going to be used. You should know the directions our money are taking place. But let's quickly go for this short break, and so that before when we come back, our guests will be joining us on our discussion. I'm going to pick the first topic we're going to be having live in the studio. A quick short break. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Welcome back on our morning show, P&B. Like we said, we're going to be having this discussion here with our guests in the studios. And there's a patriot, Desmond. And the topic we're going to discuss here with our guests is a statement that is coming from a former president of this country, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, our father, that says that corruption should start from the top. Wow. Are you for real? You mean the corruption fight should start from the top? Well, as a media personnel, Nigerian first, I will allow guests to do a bit have his own opinion and contribution to this without no, citing any biasness in his analysis. Mr. Desmond, once again, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen in the studio. Good morning, Nigerians. Um, it is a clear word that a nation only thrives and a nation only progress where there is a minimal corruption, because there is no country of the world where you do not have corruption. But yeah, it's a word coming from elder statesman and ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo, who emerged as the president in 1999 during the Fourth Republic of this country, and that period was like the period of what, of foundation for the new Nigeria that we have enjoyed in the last 20 years of our democracy. One thing that I want to speak on is corruption is a big deal, in the sense that corruption will determine the life span of a country. Corruption defines and set templates of how a country would fare. Corruption is the determinant factor that will determine if the country is going to be prosperous or if it's going the other way. Corruption is the main backbone that destroys every nation of the world. Now, this is the point. We've been talking about corruption since before 1999. But let's start from 1999, because that is where most of the reforms that we have seen in government are started from. From that time, we have had the EFCC being strengthened, we have the ICPC being strengthened, we have a level of reforms that have been carried out. But to our greatest surprise is that despite the fact that huge amount of responsibility and finance has been given to the ICPC as well as the EFCC, till date we are still fighting. We are still talking about corruption. The fight has been there, but we have not been able to record any victory or success against corruption in Nigeria. Corruption is the reason why there is economic backlash in Nigeria today. Corruption is the reason why our reserves, our foreign reserves, are dwindled. Corruption is the reason why there is huge poverty. Corruption is the reason why a lot of people are not living a happy life. At some point, this country, by the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, was even described as a fantastically corrupt nation.
Okay.
Today, Nigeria is rated as poverty headquarters of the world. Reason being that corruption, the war against corruption has not yielded any positive result. Now, the president, the ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo, has said that if truly we want to overcome the issue of corruption, want to overcome corruption in Nigeria, then we have to pitch or start the fight from the top. How true is that? Maybe in the course of this discussion, we look into that.
Jackson, you've rightly stated it very clearly that yes, it all started at the foundation of the Fourth Republic. And if you remember, as at then, the major reason why these agencies were actually created was because the World Bank and then the IMF, they all felt that the corruption in Nigeria was actually so much. And for them to continue supporting the government, they need to put up anti-corruption agencies, of which they told the president, as at then, President Olusegun Obasanjo, you have to put up this structure so that we can actually monitor corruption indices in your country. And now the president, that's 24 years later, is now stating that we must start the fight of corruption from the top. Looking back to what happened during this era first, and before we even say let us focus on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. During his time, were there no corruption, and how did he fight them?
No, before we go there, Desmond, the question I'm going to ask both of you in the studio is like, for real, if the ex-president is saying that the corruption fight should start from the top, do you think the ex-president is going to, because you want to come with, justice must come with a plain hand, they say. Do you guys think the president will also be left out of this fight if at all you want to start from? Because if I don't know any, I know of the $16 billion of power.
Yeah.
If I don't know anyone. So today, Nigerian, a country where in African, I repeat, they see us, or we call ourselves giant of Africa. We're still tackling with issue of electricity. We can't boast of everywhere today in Abuja. I can tell you. Let me pick it. I will know. Sometimes I was surprised. Like, okay, I just moved to my site last month, so I was like very close to Sunnyvale, and I was like, what is happening? I'll be having there's no lights. Like I'll be seeing lights in other estates
Neighborhood,
and neighborhood. Like I was asking, I do my findings. They told me it's solar. Everything is solar. So I have to quickly go and get my own solar too. What I'm trying to say here, the point I'm trying to pick out here is that I can tell you the electricity in this country is very bad. And if imagine $16 billion of then, if we have invested it in the strong power, we will definitely have moved from where we are today in terms of electricity. So if the ex-president is talking about tackling the corruption from the top, he should be the first president because he's our first democratically and elected president in this country. We should start from him. That is my own opinion. That's my opinion. That's my own view. So I don't know what you guys have to say about this.
Thank you so much, Shitu, for putting a perspective to the question of Olusegun Obasanjo and regard how to go about fighting corruption in Nigeria. But then, let's not miss something which is very salient. And that is when the president said that if Nigeria wants to overcome corruption, that the fight has to start from the top. What does that mean? The father of the country today is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You see, there's something I want you to understand, and that is there is certain immunity that the ex-president enjoys in this part of the world until the judicial system do something in respect to creating new laws or repeal or amend or create new laws. To that, you will not be able to do anything about ex-presidents. So that's put that aside. We are talking about laying a new foundation for a prosperous Nigeria, a country that has overcome the issue of corruption. And the advice that he gave is that we should channel our energy towards the top while we fight from top to bottom. That is his own opinion. But then, one thing that you must underline is that there has to be a fight. And that fight must be against what? Corruption in Nigeria. Whether from the top, from the middle, or from the bottom. There has to be an holistic war against corruption. And I have my mother. If I want to fight corruption, yes, why Obasanjo said that it has to start from the top is because, as a Yoruba person, there is a proverb that that is, if the head get bad, it will definitely affect the entire body. The truth of the matter is this. When President Muhammadu Buhari was coming on board in 2015, there was this widespread analogy and euphoria in the public that the body language of the president is the reason why even Olusegun Obasanjo has to remit certain amount of money back to the Federation and to the coffers of the federal government. So, some other people who have been involved in stealing also gave back certain money without their name being disclosed to the media. That is to tell you that the head have significant role to play in putting things in perspective for a nation. But for me, I have a different approach to the war against corruption.
Okay.
Corruption has eaten deep in the fabrics of our society. There is no aspect of our national life today that we can describe as a model for other ones. Every part of our national life has now been corrupted. The incorruptible elements in our society now has eaten deep. Even the children from our primary schools are also learned the trade of what? Of corruption. By stealing bio, books, going into Yahoo and other. Corruption has a different...
Even the higher institution, the normal departmental politics.
Corruption in what you define as corruption among employees of government is different from what we describe as corruption among people in private sector as well as people in the business world. But almost everybody is a culprit. And then if you want to fight that cancer or that parasite in our society, it has to be multi-dimensional approach from top to
Okay,
bottom.
Mr. Isa,
Yeah,
you go,
no,
pick up.
I think basically I understand what you've actually laid down, Desmond, looking at it from the multidimensional aspect of it all. But if you look at it critically, the truth is that just like if you want to take your bath, you must start from your head. And that's what the former president, has made us to understand. But one thing that I find very, very funny is this. Well, he was the president 1999 to about 2007, thereabout. So for that long, he was in power. And so many things happened, just like my late presenter said, that even as at that particular point in time, $16 billion. Imagine that rate as of today. That's very huge. And so many countries in Africa don't even have that till this moment.
Till this moment.
So there are so many issues that happened during the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo. But then, the question now is this. Why is it that it is difficult for preceding leaders, that's those that came after them, to actually investigate them and bring them to justice? Why is it difficult? Because you raised a critical issue that has to do with immunity here. Does that mean that if I assume the position of president today, I can still to stupor and then nobody is going to investigate me?
Desmond, hold on. So you can pick the two questions on at once. You are a guest. You let us throw it to you, and although it's an interactive sections, I thank you very much, Isa. You know, the issue of immunity, there must be something to it. The law of this country must critically look into it, because that is the reason why I see, although there's no more immunity for governor, the only immunity you have is when you are
within power.
Within the power. But as soon as you step, we saw what happened to some of the governors. They even picked some of them from the airports. Well, one of the governors from the east,
Anambra State, yeah,
he was picked from the airport. He wanted to sneak out from this country when he knew that what the atrocity, the financial atrocity, has caused on his people. You see, if the president too can have that, they can erase that immunity away from them. I think that's the reason why you see when the governor, leave a position of that governor, he knows the atrocity he has committed. He will be fighting for president. Now we see what governor of Oyo State wants to do. You see, he wants to also contest. So he has the right. He's a Nigerian. He's qualified. But what we are saying is that whether you're the president, that's the number 101 of this country. As soon as you are leaving that office, we see all the developed country. I was having some presentation some days ago. So one of the co-presenters was talking about third world country. He was referring Nigeria as a third world country. I disagree with him. I said, look, no, you can't address our country as a third world country. Although yes, the presenter too, he is a Nigerian. I have to, educate him and enlighten him. And look, what do you mean by third world country? Yes, I'll agree with you if you say developing country. We are still developing. So if we don't want to be addressed as a third world country, because saying that immunity should also covers an ex-president that has committed hugely, badly, negatively on its people, that means no matter what he has done, we should just let it go. I think our judiciary system, our judiciary cycle should critically look into that and see how they can rescue us from this mess. So, what is your own view on this immunity of a thing?
Thank you so much. First of all, it was Barack Obama who posited that the best way to fight corruption is to strengthen institutions. That from his sojourn into African countries, especially Nigeria, he has realized that there are individuals that are stronger than institutions. And in a scenario or situation where you have individuals that are stronger and more powerful than the institution, the fight against corruption will become a mirage. But then, we are still dwelling on the statement of Olusegun Obasanjo that have directed that the fight against corruption should start from the top. That is invariably saying that the people who are saddled with the responsibility, I'm talking about the EFCC and the ICPC, should start checkmating their employer, who is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Of course.
But I'm not sure that the voice of President ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo is actually directed to the president, because when you say the heads in every parastatal, in every agencies, in all the MDAs of the government.
But you understand the relationship between but you understand the relationship. No, because you've raised a critical issue here. Because the former president said that he was very affirmative.
Who is the head, first of all?
You know who is the head. We all know who is the head.
For me,
and they have different relationship.
For me, well, when you say head, don't forget the form of government or the system of
that will be more political.
System of government that is practiced in Nigeria. We have a federal system of government where at every tier of the government we have a head. The president is the head of the federal government. The governor is the head of the state governors of government. The chairman is the head of local government. Now, Olusegun Obasanjo, ex-president, has directed EFCC that if you really want to win the war against corruption,
you must start from the
top. Which is, for me, it is an advice. But whether that will play out or not, we'll look out at what will happen thereafter. But then you ask the issue of immunity. It is there. There is a certain law that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is signing as he assumes office after May 29. As one of the content that is encapsulated in that content is that you must respect, because of the kind of the polarity due to the ethnic nationalities we have in Nigeria, you must protect the ex-president. But then, don't forget that you cannot even nip the president, because the president is not in charge of anything. The ministers he has appointed are in charge of government. The government only provides direction, and that is why that the speech of a president is more or less like a direction to all the ministers that he has appointed. For example, if there is any malpractices in our financial sector, who do you owe? Yeah, you have to owe the CBN governor. Now, if there is any misappropriation or any misgiven within the Senate, who do you owe? The chairman of the Senate. If there is any misgiven in the Ministry of Youth, who do you owe? You owe the Minister of Youth. Don't forget that the president only gives direction. So it's, even if you investigate the president, don't be surprised that at the end of the day you will not find anything against the president. Don't forget that under the Olusegun Obasanjo, there was a minister of power.
But earlier on, you raised an analogy, a very critical analogy, and that I actually accepted, which has to do with when President Buhari came to power, and you see President Olusegun Obasanjo had to remit some kind of funds, and some other persons actually remitted some kind of funds. And now we are now having a situation. Can you still place that same analogy on this same government and that government of President Olusegun Obasanjo?
What Olusegun Obasanjo did was not because he was scared of the coming of the general, whether the general will have the power to scrutinize him. No. What he did was to set an example for every other Nigerians. You get the point? I think what Obasanjo has been doing, though he may have had his own bad sharing of his contribution to national...
He has his own contribution.
He has contributed negatively, positively, and to the development of the country. But what he's doing since he left power is that he has been offering a very good advice. He has chosen a part of progressive Nigeria. He has all the letters he has been written.
He has not written anyone so far.
All the statements he has made, all his action has been as if he's a saint. Olusegun Obasanjo case should be likened that listen to what I say, don't listen to what I do. Because some of the things Olusegun Obasanjo has been saying since he left power in 2007 to date has been for the greater good.
Okay, that's one. Okay, we won't say because the messenger of the message has some, some fouls and some inappropriate, actions or act he has done. The message, like you rightly say, the message is what matters to us. A madman can give you a message like, let's crack it up, in prior to 2023 election, there's this popular thing. I don't know, maybe it was doctored or something, where they say, I get the advice for a madman. That was one of the leader of this country. Yes, the presidential candidate of Labour Party.
Labour Party, okay.
I got the advice from the madman, and he believed in that advice. And maybe it worked for him. So, and like a father, President Olusegun is a grandfather to us. President Olusegun Obasanjo. Yes, let's take. He knows better than us. He was a general. He was a whatever. Mention it in Nigerian. He has attained. He's a nationalist. He's a Pan-Africanism. He's a leader. He's not only leader in Nigerian. He's not a leader in African. He's a leader in the world, whether we like it or not. But we won't say because maybe he has one of. Yes, he's right. I agree with him to a certain extent. But I just have to, to check him up and to rejig him like, Baba, what you're saying now
actually happened during your tenure.
It happened during your tenure. But does not mean that we do not agree with that. It does not mean that we are not supporting that statement. Yes, this government or previous government should be properly checked. Yes, Desmond was saying something earlier that we cannot hold the president. No, the president appoint the ministers. You appoint the head of the parastatals and agencies. So tell me, yes, if thank God you're a Yoruba man, if your son has committed something bad, yes, it is you, even though your son is going to bear it, the punishment, but definitely he has already stained you.
Yes.
What? Because the first thing is that Yoruba says in their adage that something like that. If the president, has took his time and critically scrutinize his minister before you appoint them, there will not be any, ngbati. Let me give you an example. The president of Senegal, the young man that is the president of Senegal, I read something that he said that he was telling his appointees that, look, don't put my pictures in your offices. Rather, put the picture of your children
in the offices.
Do you know why? He said, because whenever you want to do something bad, look at the picture and you say, hey, if I'm being caught, what will happen to this girl? That is how the leaders. Yes, there are a lot of ways that you can fight corruptions. Although I'm not in Dakar, I'm not in Senegal to know what is going on. But I can tell you, as a media person I'm following that guy, that young man, that president of Senegal. What he has recorded in just the few months that he has in power. So, seriously, that guy is making a good transformation. So, I disagree with you, Desmond, when you say that the president, no. If the president appoints somebody, I said that you're going to sack that person. There are a lot of corruption that is going on in the presidency. When you talk about presidency, what form presidency, if I'm to ask you this question? I don't know, the ministries, that's what the SGF, the chief of army staff, the NSA, these are, if any corruption goes on there, they say the presidency, the cabal in the presidency. Who is the head of the presidency? It's the president. If anything goes wrong there, they should call the president to order. The president, in fact, our leaders seems not to get this thing right. If you have been elected or given a position, you are the servants. And you are open to be criticized, to even drag you anyhow. We should know that it's in Constitution. I can call the president, okay, for example, let me take an example. The issue of this tax reform bill. Our leaders, the Senate presidents, I'm sorry to say, I'm very, very sorry to say, I'm highly disappointed in the
National Assembly.
Yes, I said on my own, because telling Nigerians that they should go and read about the reform bills. It is not our duty. It is not the duty of Nigerians to go and read about the reform bills. It is your duty to call us. It is your duty to tell us the ambiguity in that bill, to tell us that, look at it. One of the reckless, talkative we have as a number 3 citizen of this country.
Well, so many Nigerians are actually disappointed with the management of the National Assembly, but then still, Desmond, these are critical issues that he has raised. And when you look at it, we've touched 3 major issues here. Number one, we raise the issue of corruption. Number two, we talk about the issue of immunity. And then now we're even talking about how our legislators are actually, how they are behaving in the front of every Nigerians. They are actually supposed to be the messengers of the people.
Of course, we send them to the National Assembly, go and represent us.
But so in the light of all this, you are a patriot, you are the president of Nigerian Nexus. How do you see us moving forward with all these challenges that we are having?
First of all, let me put this in proper perspective. You know, while Shitu was trying to um, make some remarks and direct his question, he said that he disagreed with my position as regards
So how the corruption will be dealt with,
against corruption
Should be tackled.
should be tackled. I think there is misunderstanding. The misunderstanding or misconception here is that I never said that the head should not be the model of the fight against corruption in Nigeria. What I'm only emphasizing on is the practicability if you want to get results. I am more interested in the results. I'm not interested in politics. Nigeria as a country, you know that first of all, we are talking about, are we having this conversation for us to chart a way forward? And then you know that change cannot be drastic. Change will be what? Dynamic. And it's going to be gradual. It's a process. Otherwise, it will create anarchy. If you don't want to create a situation that looks like anarchy in a country, that's when you now institution of government to start fighting the president. Meanwhile, the president has given responsibility to different people of his cabinet. The only thing the president can be charged to do is to provide what they call direction, leadership, to be the model, to be the example. And I'm happy when you gave the example of the president of Senegal. What he has done is that he has provided lead, he has provided direction. And that doesn't mean that it can be checked or it can be fight. Nobody can institute a fight against the president of Senegal. But the only thing that the president can do is to provide. And that is why we always pray that God should help the citizens. The citizens should be educated enough to always elect the president. A good president that would deliver the dividend of government to the people. Having said that, now on the general note, I'd like you to understand that we have forms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislature, and we have the judiciary. Why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the head of the government as the head of the executive. We also have a Senate president that is the head of what? The legislature.
Of the Senate.
We have also the chief judge of the federation, CJN, that is also the head of the judiciary system of the country. Now, we are talking about heads. Yes, so much has been said about the president. Do you know that every form of this government are supposed to check each other? If Nigeria must even work, you see the presidency, the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, they must actually deliver their best.
But in this particular case, Desmond, because if you look at it critically, you've actually segmented how the government is. You have the executive, we have the legislature, and then we have the judiciary. But we've always known, based on, not theoretical now, based on practicals, that the executive still overwhelms this Chief Justice, still overwhelms the National Assembly, and at the end of the day, that is where corruption lies. And that was his major fear, that we are now having a Senate president who is not actually representing the essence of him being the leadership of the National Assembly.
Interesting tales there, Isa. The point is this. The much power that the president is enjoying, I believe it's enjoying that from the Constitution. There are so many lacunas.
To appoint the Chief Justice of
I'm
Nigeria,
coming.
which is correct, which is constitutional. I agree
There
with
are
you that.
so many
But
lacuna.
in terms of the, okay,
I'm coming.
okay.
There are so many lacuna in our constitution, and that is why there have been much talked about judicial reforms, judicial reform, judicial reform, and amendment of the 1999 Constitution.
But do you see that as the major problem?
That
Because
is the problem.
no, because you've mentioned something very clear, that there are so many lacunas in our constitution, and we know that those who actually implement this constitution are the ones who actually makes this constitution. And you also know very well that in the issue of seeing lacunas in our constitution, whether we like it or not, there is no constitution that is perfect globally. There's no constitution, and that's the need, or that's the reason why you see there's always this adjustment with time. But we've also seen the greed of politicians, where they overlook this constitution and carry out their own personal interest. That's why you see, after the election has been conducted for the National Assembly members or for the State Assembly members, you see the governors write down on who they want them to be the Speaker of the House or the Senate President and the rest of it like that. So don't you think it is an issue of greed, not the issue of our constitutional
You
faultless?
cannot take the place of politics out of government. And you see that the president has come on board under a political party, and he felt that the only way that he will have a smooth ride is if a member of his party emerge as the leader of the Senate. That is when the government can actually deliver the best to the country. Now, I said there is lacuna, but however, the lacuna in our constitution is not the reason why Nigeria is not moving forward, but because of the selfishness of the people who have been appointed, elected in position of influence. Just like the elected reps, the elected senators, the appointed ministers, and every other DGs, chairman of these MDAs, majority of them do not have the interest of the country, and that is why it is easy for the president to. Do you know Obasanjo? Let me give you an example of Olusegun Obasanjo. During the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo, we still have a Senate that is vibrant, a Senate that is audacious, a Senate that is
that means
so we have the weakest.
And if Obasanjo wants to find his way, according to what has been alleged, that he has to package envelope.
Okay.
He has to package something.
Let me rescue you.
To lobby them.
Let me rescue you.
To lobby them because
let me rescue you.
They still have some powers.
Let me rescue you with your your expressions, your analogy. One of the most powerful civilian president that we've had so far in this 1999 till date, and he said yes, we still give it to President Obasanjo. Yes, he was a president. He is a president. He's a president that controls even the word president. I can use that word. Most of the president, I'm sorry to say, most of the president we have today, down to the tones of Westerners. Well, that's for them, because the fact that the president Olusegun Obasanjo was a general, wanted to find his way to have a third term. But like you said, I just want to back up your point that saying that we have one of the most vibrant National Assembly then. He wanted to find his way to have a third term, but what happened? They rejected him with his money. He was distributing money around. But at this junction, we're going to also run to go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be having our second topic to discuss here live in this studio. Let's quickly go for a short break. Thank you and welcome back to the second edition of our program this morning. Um, Still, we've discussed about what our statesman hold, former president of this country has said about tackling corruptions. It seems our topic today is still head on corruption.
Yeah.
It's not only in the political cycle that we have corruption, because our topic today again is still, the second topic we
Educational corruption.
educational corruption, which is also very, very, which I'm going to be citing some examples,
Yes.
even from the Nollywood, industry. But before then, let's welcome our co-presenter. Good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Nice to meet you.
So, yes, you met us where I believe you have a topic on hand, and we're talking about what our former president said, about the corruption should be, the tackling of corruption should start from the top. Actually, we've discussed that in our first discussion. Here, we're talking about the corruptions that happens in the educational system. We have some report that, some people even have to pay, their ways to have their MBAs and our PhDs before they could get that certificate. Is that how bad? We know that, yes, we've been, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
There's this famous musician in our country, Idris Abdulkarim. I was watching one of his interviews some years back. He said the reason why he sang that Mr. Lecturer, we all know that song, Mr. Lecturer. He said he had a program at Unilag or Lagos then, so he was coming with his convoy. So he saw this lady was crying or looking very worried. So he immediately stopped the car and his convoy that, let me call this girl. So the girl was even afraid, like, no, didn't you know me? He said, I'm Idris Abdulkarim. I said, okay, fine. What happened to you? Say, yeah, a lecturer is asking her to come to a hotel before he could pass an exam or whatever. I said, what? So Idris Abdulkarim took this like a fine. Okay, let's do it, but we are going to pretend. That was how Idris Abdulkarim came up with Idris
Jaga, yeah.
Sorry. I believe we all watched this citation. There's this film citation by Kunle Afolayan. The same thing happens about education. Why is this going on? Let's start with her, because she's a lady. This question should come for her.
All right, thank you very much. When I saw this topic, I was like, oh my God, it looks like I'm going to tell a story today.
Let's start from here.
All right, we know this is very rampant in Nigeria, and it's regardless. I was researching about this, and then I realized that there are lots of laws that should probe or to curb this corruption, bribery, and sex for grades. But the issue now is, why is it that, regardless of all of these things, corruption, bribery still has its way in schools, in universities? I remember coming as a very young girl, very small, 100 level. I had this lecturer who was on my neck.
Wow, 100 level.
100 level.
What year was that?
That was 2012.
Well, I imagine seeing you now and seeing how you're going to look like in.
I was very tiny, just a very little girl.
Oh, that's serious.
Lecturers were on my neck. It was so bad that there were certain times I would have to wear Bertram slippers and look very tattered for lectures, because I do not want this lecturer to look at me and, okay, probably because I'm beautiful or something, let me just try to look disguised and maybe it will take the attention off me. But no, lecturer kept persisting. And as a 100 level students, we were naive, and I really didn't know what to do. At some point, I wanted to report. Then friends began to tell me, Miracle, it looks like you don't want to graduate.
Wow,
so that is like the threat of almost every student, anyone going through this kind of situation. They're like, if I report, this is what will happen, because the people I am reporting to or reporting about, they have higher power. There's politics in all of these things.
You don't have
imagine
an evidence to prove that this is what
there are no evidence. Okay, aside okay, there were several times I would have to take my phone and record conversations. there's this recent situation, I think it happened 2018, one Monica case. It was very viral. It was everywhere on social
yes, yeah, I
media.
remember
This
that.
OAU.
OAU, yeah.
It was mad, but I'm sorry to say, but I don't know if she finally got justice.
Actually, that was
she got, yeah.
that was the
If
reason
she
why
got
Kule
justice.
Afolayan did that film
That
citation.
citation, yeah. She
Yes.
actually did got justice because I remember ICPC was on that case,
Yes,
and
yes.
the man was actually
Exactly,
taken to
that was the
court
reason
and
why Kule Afolayan did the
did
film
that the
citation. I don't know
citation.
whether you've seen that
No,
movie.
I have not.
Oh, please, just it's on Netflix. Go and get that movie citation. You will see it. In fact, he shot the movie in OAU, and after the post production, Afolayan said the reason why. I think it was that Monica case. The lady later got justice.
She
And
got justice.
although it was very terrible, she needs to get evidences, to pile evidences, because these lecturers, they know their way. You have to cover themselves, But that girl, the way they scripted that movie was fantastic. So I recommend the movie.
Yeah, she actually got just because I'm also part of the reporters who actually covered the ICPC, and I followed that case till the letter, and I saw it happening in real time. Yes, just like our judicial system, just like we actually raised when we were discussing the issue of corruption, our judicial system needs to be checked because issues that need accelerated hearing actually are not getting the accelerated hearing as expected. So what happened to Monica is not different from what is actually happening to other ladies in other higher institutions, in our polytechnics, in our colleges of education, in our university. So many of these issues are actually happening. While some are being swept under the carpet because of, just like we've rightly mentioned, the issue of the politics that is behind the scene. We also understand that in every institution, there is a disciplinary committee. I was one of those students who was very, very privileged to be among the university disciplinary committee, and I know what it takes, especially if your university is a university that doesn't play with your integrity, with their integrity, sorry, I mean to say, they will make sure that they deal with that lecturer to the latter point. I remember a case like this in my institution then. A particular lecturer, this one doesn't even have to do with maybe sexual issue or sexual abuse and the rest. No, it was about bribery. The lady wants to bribe, okay, the lady bribed a particular lecturer to clear for a particular course and then it happened that at the end of the day, the man did not actually find it easy for him to even do, even as a senior lecturer in that department. So at the end of the day, this girl felt bad that, look, I've already paid you. So why was the job not done? And then the alarm was raised. Unfortunately, I was in that committee. I was heading the student body then at the postgraduate level. And the university sat on that particular case. I'm telling you that the university, at the end of the day, all the lecturers involved, the ones that had done it before, even that particular time, they were all brought to book and they were expelled from the university,
That's a good one.
including the lady who also bribed. Nobody was left out. So the higher institution themselves, that is why even in our higher institutions, we have the anti-corruption body. Even in our institution, we have disciplinary panel. For that of the students, that of the management, we all have disciplinary panel. So before it even gets out of the university, for Monica to have taken that case, probably people have actually exploded the case on social media, it means that in the university, they try to hide that particular issue. And then we made use of the social justice, that's the criminal justice system, using social media to aggravate the issue. And then the ICPC now came into that particular problem, and then the ICPC took that particular case from the start of it to the end of it, which was actually not good for the lecturers.
Okay, like I said earlier, you as a lady in the house, you have more experience, and tell us why. But before we come back to you and you also give us your experience and know what you know about this, Patriot Desmond, I want you to also contribute with this. The reason why I want you to do that, it might not be your field, but as a patriot and as a father, as a good ambassador of this country, this is your country. What would you say to this issue? Seeing a lecturer, a man that can give back to a girl, asking like, okay, I want this before I can make you to scale through, to pass. Do you see this as a disturbing, issue?
First of all, let me put this straight to you that the reason why we have some serious issues in our country today is because of what has actually happened in our schools. Do not forget that universities, school generally, is a place where character is being molded, where behavior is being learned. It is where a man's life is actually being formed. And some of the things or traits, characteristics, behavior, personality traits that you are going to exhibit in your place of work or your professional life, you are meant to actually learn some of them, most of them, from the university. So whether you call it set for grade, money for grade, any form of these kind of anomalies, it should not be allowed in our universities, in our schools. Because the reason why we now have fantastically corrupt politicians is because they have mastered the acts of this corruption from schools. These search for grade, money for grade, or even gesture, or any kind of thing that you give for you to get grade. Whilst you are in school, what is expected of you as a student is to learn. What is expected of a lecturer is to teach.
Hold on. If you say most of these issues the problems are coming from the lecturers. You see, we have, like, she just cited her own experience. A young lady back then, I don't even know her age, but talking about how old should be at early, maybe teens, like maybe 20 years or something, and a lecturer, asking her like, okay, come for what? Most of this problem comes from these lecturers, male lecturers.
If you want to balance this conversation,
Yes.
I've passed through university. I was once a student,
We all pass through
and I
university.
understand what is happening in the university. I've also lectured in university. And one thing I can tell you authoritatively is this. You see, the issue of lecturer, it is not just lecturer. It is a issue of human behavior generally.
No.
Those who have influence, anybody who have influence, anybody who has certain power, either political power, economic power, social power, political power, they tend to use it to their own advantage. The lecturer understood his power, and that is why he's using that power to negotiate for any kind of deed from the lady, or from the boy, or from anybody.
Speaking
Now,
as a
there are some
sociologist.
students that also have money power. Some students have money power, and they will put it to the lecturer that, sir, you must pass me. What's the problem? I will buy you a car. I will give you a 500,000. I will give you a 1 million. How much is your salary? 100,000. I will give you a 1 million naira. Just make sure you pass me very well. Beyond that, there are some students that have some social power, in short, wrong social power from courtesan, that we staged a kind of house arrest on a particular lecturer and demand from the lecturer that you must pass A, B, and C. Otherwise, you will not see tomorrow. And the lecturer will not have any issue. So what I'm saying is that this decay has actually eaten deep in the fabrics of our social life. And we must declare a state of emergency in that regard. We shouldn't, as a society, allow issues like this to thrive. Because at the end of the day, what happens in university does not remain in the university. It affects the neighboring environment. It affects the society. It affects the people of
Okay,
Nigeria.
thank you very much, Desmond. Okay, Aisa.
Yeah, I think, Desmond have actually stated it very clear. The thing is that it is actually a two-way issue. There are situations whereby this student actually also try as much as possible to influence the lecturer, and there are situations where the lecturers also try as much as possible to influence the student. But then the essence of university, for you to have that cosmopolitanness in that particular community, is because there are certain, just like you've rightly said, there are certain character or model that you want to adopt in that particular institution. And when you go to the university, your level of intelligence actually changes, because you are meeting people from different backgrounds, people from lower class, people from higher class, and then the lecturers are there to actually mold you, to guide you, despite the fact that your freedom is there. Because in university, there's nothing like a gate. You are going there, you are going in the morning, there's a particular time you have to leave. No, you decide if you are going to the class or not. And most at times, when you see issues like this coming up, you discover that it is not the most intelligent lady that is actually having this particular problem. Sometimes, I'm not saying in all cases, sometimes, in short, let me say most at times, you discover that it is actually those people that are below it. They don't attend classes. The lecturers see them as easy prey to actually prey on. They actually go for probably night parties and the rest. their attendance is not there, they don't write and test, they don't go for exams. So when you don't have those scores, the scores of attendance, the scores of writing test, what's the guarantee that you are going to pass the exam? And the lecturer says, oh, this one is a weaker vessel. So if I approach her, so you will not take her, you will not take her. But then it is not good. The essence of you as a lecturer standing before the student is for the student to see you as a role model in the society, so that they can also use that premium to be able to achieve so much in the society.
Okay, Miracle, now over to you now. You are a mother in this studio, and you've also, passed through these this level, the stage of university right now. So tell us, how do you people feel when things like this come to you?
It's not something I would want anybody to experience, any student to experience, because it has a way of affecting a student psychologically. I would use myself as an example. This particular lecturer, whenever I am going for his lecture or attending his lecture, there is this fear. There is this, I don't want to go. There is this, I don't want to see him. There is this, okay, what next? What is he going to say to me? So there's this fear that happens to, there's this fear, it's incites in a student. Do you understand?
When you say lecturer.
When you see the lecturer, at that point, you can't even concentrate to learn. And then you mentioned something that most times they always look for the weaker vessel, which is not really true.
Yeah.
Because I graduated with a very good grade, and I was really, and I'm still very smart.
But you mentioned something very beautiful also. So that is also an attraction.
Okay, but it's nobody's fault.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault. But then
it's
that's also an attraction. Yeah.
So it affects our grade. It affects the way we read. It affects the way we see these lecturers. And then we just get to generalize this. It has happened to one lecturer. Then I just feel like, okay, it can happen. It's the same thing. All lecturers are just the way they'll say, all men has come. All lecturers are cheats, or all lecturers are the same, have the same character or behavior. So it's not a good experience for anyone. It can actually affect the esteem of, especially a lady. You begin to see yourself less than who you are. You begin to see yourself like you really do not worth anything, because these lecturers will make you feel like you are nothing. Like they'll make you feel, I can sit on you and nothing will happen. They are the
god as of that particular moment.
Yes, and nothing will happen. You can take me to anywhere, take me to any court, and I'm telling you that nothing will happen. At that stage, what do you expect a student, especially someone who is just being introduced to the four corners of the university to do?
I think, Miracle, you actually stated it very, very well. And then just like I mentioned, and just like you also agreed to, there are so many ways these lecturers can actually get students. But at the same time, what I want to say is that not all lecturers actually are involved in this, which many of us know.
That's true.
But the worst of it all is when the University Disciplinary Committee is being noticed, is being notified of issues like this, and then they don't take action to address it immediately until the social media angle start taking that particular dimension, which is not good. Because I know the moment there is an issue between a lecturer and a student, and the student feels somehow, if he or she feel unease, that, oh no, why will this lecturer be doing this? There is always a point of call. The point of call as a student first is for you to either report to the security division, and if no action is taken, you go to the disciplinary committee, and then you petition the lecturer. But then the implication is that that lecturer may actually have some other friends who are actually doing the same thing in that same department. They won't actually bring their head up. But the moment you petition that particular one, who is also their friend, they will now keep themselves below, and then they'll start failing you in some other courses, which is going to actually make you to have a longer stay in the school.
Yeah, you were right, seriously speaking. And what Miracle also said, and what our guest here said about, some lecturers try to identify the weaker ones, but it's not in all situations. Some lecturers are just, me as a guy, as a boy, while I was in university, we saw what happened when some of our colleagues, our female colleagues, were like, this lecturer is on my name. I was like, to waiting, it's not only even academic environment. I have a friend when he wanted to serve. He was serving with FIRS.
Yeah.
Then in Lagos. She told him that, see, like this is what
Exactly.
our guy is telling me, that before he can confirm her, and after NYC, he needs to do this, normal. She told the ball is in your court. That's what I told her. No, but it's seriously disheartening and disturbing because the question I will ask, we are all men. The question I used to say, yes, I have staffs. Most of my staff, 99% of them are female. I used to say that yes, we are all that men's, we do have all these chuku. I say, once you're serving under me, sincerely speaking, I won't have anything to do
It's
with
a professional relationship.
I can, after you've left, and maybe after you left
leave
me,
me, yeah.
I thought, okay, fine, I can see, okay, when I have interest, I can, okay, let me go for it. But as far as you're working under me or with me or for me, consider it no
Business.
area. In fact, I will try as much to be avoiding you. Yes, I have my business in Kaduna, and I can tell you, if some of my staff are watching this, I've not seen them, some of them, for more than 2-3 months. Once I know that when the end of the month comes, I pay them salary, and if there's any issue, we handle it on the phone. Because by the time you have this close relationship with them, one or two things will be coming up. It's not as if I'm trying to say that I'm saint, but just try as much to avoid things in it. So now, we have to just look into this, but let's quickly go for a short break before we have a weather report. A short break, please. Okay, welcome back to this last edition of this program on politics and business news this morning. So we're still discussing about the the corruptions in the education systems, and how lecturers take advantages of their female students, and how there's like, you have to go this, you have to take this before you get this. But we can't be talking about these issues without not saying, okay, what is the way out, or what are the way out? So that's the reason why we're going to ask this critical question, Miracle and our guest here. Let me start. Okay, Mr. Desmond, within 2 minutes, tell us, what advices do you have for both the lecturers and especially the students?
First of all, we need to understand that we have a country to save, and then every one of us as individual, as citizens, either students or lecturer, we have a role or a responsibility to the survival of that country. Now, particularly to lecturers that have mastered the art of exploiting young students within the walls of a university that have gone there to acquire, education, is not a good thing that should be allowed to thrive. But then, I believe that, just like Issa rightly said earlier, every university have what they call disciplinary committee. So this is for the student. It's for the student that felt he has been cheated or been exploited or in the process of being exploited. Should always get his head straight there is no hiding place anymore in our university. And this naivety that we experience among young people should be, we need more counselors in university to speak directly to the student that nobody's going to kill you, nobody's going to do anything to you. Please, when you have any issues of harassment, sexual harassment, or sex for grade issue, or money for grade issue, come to the dean of student affairs or any counselor in the school and table it. And then we should also be smart enough to learn how to use our technology, our phones. We should be smart enough. It's a problem. We must start looking at innovative way of solving this problem. Even as at today, despite all the measures within our universities to curb this illicit behavior among these lecturers, some people are still very adamant. They have learned a different twist to it. They have mastered the trade now. So what I think the student needs to do is that to keep their head straight, and they should try to make use of their technology in order to expose this rot. And even if the technology is not going to work, stand on your ground.
Okay,
Stand on your
Miracle,
ground.
thank you very much, Mr. Desmond. Miracle, your thoughts?
All right, Mr. Desmond has said the major thing, but then I would want to add, this is going to be to the universities. Please, once you have new intake, I think there should be like a seminar for students, and then they should make them understand that, okay, this is their home, because they are leaving their home and then they are coming to a strange environment. They should make the students understand that we are here for you, and then things like this are likely to happen. And then if something like this happens, this is what they should do. This is where they should go to. This is, if such lecture or seminar is being held in schools, many students like me then would have understood that, okay, I should report to so panel. So this is to universities. And then also to students, I would want to say that at every point, maintain your ground. Do not shift grounds. Know who you are, know your rights. It may be rough, it may be tough, but then insist on your rights. Insist on getting justice. And Mr. Desmond rightly said, we have social media. We know the way it runs right now. You have your evidence, you've videoed it, and you post, and you were seeking for justice on every angle. So this is another thing I want to say to students. And just as you rightly mentioned.
What about the lecturer? You've said the part of the student. What about the lecturer?
Okay, so for the lecturers, okay, I would say this to the universities. Please try to pay lecturers well, because I feel if lecturers are being paid well, they won't be looking for small money here and there. And then also, lecturers should also abide to moral values, because if you know you're a father, you have this person as a daughter at home. If you see students as your children, I don't think you want to abuse your child. So that's moral, that ethics should be brought back to lecturers. Lecturers should abide by all of this.
Thank you very much, Miracle. At this moment, our technicals are behind camera are saying that we are to leave the studio for the next program to come in. Yeah. And at this moment, I think we've done justice to the first topic and to the second. Both also, topics, they are talking about corruptions. One, corruption in governance and politics, while the other one in education, which is very, very important. Bedrock of everything. And thank you to our guest, Mr. Desmond, and my co-presenter.
Thank you so much, Shitu.
And also Mrs. Miracle.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And to Nigerians, we say good morning to you once again, watching us live from Politics and Business Television in Abuja. Have a wonderful day.